This time we're going to look at a very simple utility, and it's one that you may have used before. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some different techniques for how to use ping. Normally, you might just say ping 172.30.42.1. Ping is a utility that also works on Windows just as it does here on Kali Linux. One of the differences, though, is Windows will have slightly different parameters than the ones we're going to be using here. It still does the same thing, it just may use different flags in order to do them. So I can say ping 172.30.42.1. Ping under Linux will just keep going until I kill it, unlike under Windows where it just sends 4 and then it's done. Here, I can say -C4, it's going to send 4, and then it should complete at that point. That's how you would do one that looked just like a Windows system. I can specify a count. I can also do something like pinging the broadcast address. Normally, if I were to ping the broadcast address, and if you are less familiar with TCP/IP, every network block comes with a network address, which is the lowest address of the block. In my case, that would be .0, and a broadcast address, which is the highest address in the block, meaning I am sending a message to everybody on the network. If I send a message to .255 here, so this is my broadcast address. If I were to ping this here, it should say exactly what it says. Do you want to ping broadcast? Then -B. So I can say -B, and then I'm telling ping I do actually want to send a broadcast. And now you can see that I'm getting duplicate messages because I'm sending the broadcast ping out and I'm getting responses from multiple systems on the network, just as I would expect to. Now, something else that I can do using ping is I can say pattern. So that's -P. And this has to be in hexadecimal because we're talking about byte values here. And I can just say 172.30.42.1. That's just going to send the message out. No big deal. What I can do in addition to this, though, is I could say, I actually want my packet to be 800 bytes and not the typical 56 bytes. Now I'm sending 808 bytes, and we're getting roughly the same round trip times as we were before, mostly because 800 really isn't a very large value and it's still on my local network. But if you wanted to do some stress testing a little bit, you can use ping to send really large packets out onto the network. And you could also mark them using the pattern here so that there was a very specific marker for you to be looking at on the other end. So that's one reason why you may want to use the pattern. And also, as I said, you may want to do load testing where you're using much larger values. Here, for example, we're seeing 4 milliseconds where before we were seeing just a single millisecond because I increased the packet size by a factor of 10 to 8008 bytes from just the 808 bytes that we were using before. Ping is a really useful utility, but it's useful for more than just can I see whether a host is up? I can do a little bit of load testing. I can mark packets as I send them through the network. So there's a pattern that I can particularly look at. I can also specify exactly the number of packets that I'm going to be sending. And of course, I can also ping the broadcast address using my ping utility here.